recruitment. Is everybody able to see the screen change to recruitment? Murugan?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when we talk about recruitment, it's just a few months back. I'm not even looking at too many, too long ago. It's probably about 2.5, 3 months back. We when I say we, it's we as an organization or my company, we had only about 10% of our organization who we believed could operate remotely. You know, when we talk about working from home as a policy, we thought there are some processes which will never be able to work from home. This is the thought process we as an organization had. We always thought that data teams in our company will never be able to work from home, and only our IT or the product teams will be able to work from home. But today, when we look back or when we look at the current scenario, I would say the numbers have reversed or more than reversed. Today, about 95% of my organizations are completely working from home. And definitely, I don't see a single escalation in the last 50 days which has come to me stating that, you know, this is not happening, that is not happening. And I also see there is a greater level of efficiency which has come in terms of the work delivery. So what I'm trying to say is what we actually thought may not be the right way to do things has completely changed today. And we are seeing things from a newer perspective where we are able to appreciate that everybody can do and deliver work from their own home or even remotely from wherever they are. So this is the first thing which I would say we as an organization have learned it. And if we are hoping that, you know, we will get back to our offices one day and things are going to be normal, where, you know, like in a previous scenario, I have seen in my own organization where employees sit in smaller groups, even on their desk, and they have a chit chat together. Definitely, that's not going to be the thing for the next few months or even a year or so to come, because the COVID we are all fighting together. We need to follow certain norms like social distancing has become a key thing to today. With this, even the organizations will start focusing on how we can make sure that our seating arrangement in the company is defined in such a way that no two individuals are sitting so close to each other that they become vulnerable of a health risk. So this is the kind of change we can expect, the micro level change I'm talking about when we get back to office. And this is going to come back as the new normal for us. So this is on an entirely whole scenario of working from an office. Let's look at from a recruitment point of view. When we talk about human resources as a function, I divide human resources into 4 key categories. One is, you know, talent acquisition. That is where I would say recruitment comes into picture. Then comes the second box I would call is the talent engagement, where we talk about engaging employees. Then comes the talent management. Talent management is all about performance and other related stuff. Then comes talent development. This is where I call it as the learning and development and the training programs. I shall try to touch upon a little bit in the new norm when we get back to office, how the things would look at post-COVID scenario. I would like to begin with recruitment as a perspective. So when we talk about recruitment, adopting HR technology in recruitment becomes a very key need for us. When I say technology in recruitment, the traditional way, we all know that we believe in a face-to-face interview. Even before the lockdown also, I would say, I have conducted interviews where we may do a digital test or an online test. We may even do a video interview, but finally, before we move to an offer stage, it's always conventional for us to believe that we should call the person in person to have a in-person interview and then go ahead and release the offer. That thought process is going to change a lot, primarily from the perspective that, you know, going forward with all the developments we have had, video interviews or technology, digital interviews are going to become more and more common. When I say digital interviews, we are talking about a complete video interview where we, like how today we are doing a Zoom presentation. We are going to talk about Zoom interviews, and we are going to talk about even an offer being released to a person without even meeting them in person. So these things are going to become the new normal for us in recruitments. Similar way, a recruiter will also change his thought process in terms of getting the funnel of candidates. The earlier the traditional process had been, we go ahead and meet the consulting companies in person, set the expectation. All those are going to slowly change. We're going to become more and more digital. We are going to adopt more of the LinkedIn, the Facebook, and the Twitters and the Instagram, where we can start talking about our organization and branding the organization to attract the right kind of talent. See, the result would remain the same in terms of, from the expectation of an organization. Organization always wants the best talent. Today, let us talk about a campus recruitment scenario. The traditional way of campus recruitment is we come and do a pre-placement talk, and then the students get to hear from somebody from the company who is coming there and who will talk to them in person. So going forward, when I say we adopt digital technology, this also may move into something on a digital mode, be it could be a Zoom discussion, or it could be on a LinkedIn or through Instagram. We may create a wonderful profile of the company, a small video of the company to create the interest within the candidates. And we may also move on to a platform where candidates can online subscribe to which company they may be interested to apply for. So these are all the things I'm talking about when I say a recruitment funnel or the source of candidates would change. Earlier, you used to have companies and representatives like me who will come to the colleges and talk about our organization to all the students to create the interest. But now it's going to be totally digital, where we may still continue to have a presentation over a Zoom, or we could be creating a small video presentation or an advertisement which could attract the interest of the candidates. So these are the things when it comes to the source of candidates. Similarly, when it comes to the interview process, we talk about remote hiring. When we talk about remote hiring, it's not just talking about, see, today, because we all worked in one office under one single roof, we had a need that the candidate has to be in Chennai to join us. But when we move into a remote hiring mode, irrespective of where the candidate is, we can go ahead and hire. So what I'm trying to say is, for a student or for any aspiring candidate, the scope of their search market, job search market, will not be limited only to the place where they are staying or where they are living. It gets widened. Even in fact, somebody living in India can be working for a company in the US, or a US company can look at somebody who is here in India to do the work. So that's what I mean to say when I say remote hiring is the future. So we are not going to be constrained or confined by the place of work. So when we look at technology adoption for candidates, we also are talking about, we don't mind where you are as long as you deliver the work for us. So it's going to become more task oriented, the recruitment. When I say task oriented, it also means, we are looking at this particular work for you and we assign this task to you. It's now the candidate who chooses what time he or she can work. There are people who currently need that flexibility. When I talk about flexibility, somebody may have a child to take care at home. When you have a restriction of coming to office, definitely their priority for their career would become limited. So now, because we are moving into a digital mode, such people also can aspire to start working, and they can also plan their work in such a way, okay, this is the time I'm going to look at my ailing child or an ailing parent, and this is the time I'm going to dedicate myself for the work. So they can define the flexibility of their work. So remote hiring is going to become the future of the industry. When I say remote hiring, I'm again very clearly emphasizing where I am is not going to be a constraint for my organization to hire me. So that is what remote hiring I'm focusing at. Then we are talking about, when we talk about recruitment as a process, virtual interview is going to become a reality. And already I'm experiencing in my company, it's not just the candidate who's going to be at a virtual level. Even my interview panel is going to sit at a virtual place. Today, when I'm conducting interviews, my recruiter is sitting from his home and conducting the interviews, and the interviewer, who is my technical panel, is from his home, and the candidate is all together in a different location. So this is going to be the process in future. All three of us in three different places, and the interview still happens, and we are still looking at achieving the organization objective of getting the right talent for the company. So recruitments, definitely from a campus scenario, if you ask me, yes, I have done that in TVS. I remember one of the years we could not visit Pune. So we did a digital interview. We did a video conferencing interview where, of course, the students were all at one location and we were at our company premises. So, but going forward, even that may be, even you all may be at your home and we all may be conducting the interviews from our homes or the remote locations. We all come together and see that who is the right person to be hired. So video interviews are going to be very common. So ensuring that you earlier, when we look at the video interviewing process, I remember when I was with HCL, video interviews were not considered very friendly even by the technical panels and by the candidate, because people became very conscious on a video interview. We are not very much used to being interviewed in front of a camera. So we become very conscious. So what I would suggest to the students and the candidates who are hearing right now is try to do some mock sessions with your own friends on video interview goes. Yeah, it could go funny at times and it could be fun at times, but end of the day, you learn on how you can be presenting yourself better in a virtual interview. Only experience could give you that expertise. So I would suggest from that perspective, for a student, it's good to practice a video interview. We all talk on video calls, FaceTime, all this, whatever we do with friends today, try to bring a little more structured environment so that you can present yourself more formally, take feedback from your friends and your teachers, see how it goes so that this can become a mock session for you also. So this is one part of it when we talk about recruitment and interviewing process. From an organization perspective, organizations will also look at flexibility in terms of the roles they offer. What do I mean when I say flexibility in terms of the role? We no longer want to hire everybody in a permanent position. The organizations will look at, okay, I don't mind hiring a consultant for this position as long as the person is able to deliver the work. So the organizations will also start looking at hiring people for specific projects. Instead of hiring a senior engineer full-time, they may even say, look at hiring this person for this particular project, as long as you are able to complete this, more like a project hiring. So that would also become very common now in the industry. And of course, use of online platforms. When I say online platforms, I'm not only referring to things like Naukri or Dice or Times Job. I'm also referring to LinkedIn, which is a very professional network, or it could be even Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, through which the recruiters will start looking at identifying the right candidates. So what is important for all of us here as students, you all also need to look at how you can build a very good professional profile of yours on an Instagram or even on a LinkedIn or Facebook, because the companies will also start looking at how you project yourself. See, there are a lot of personality traits or personal traits which we go ahead and determine during the face-to-face interview time. So now our face-to-face interview are going to be limited. So we start looking at the social profile of the candidates to see how those personality traits can be determined. Say, for example, what I write in the Facebook may determine my language proficiency, my vocabulary also. The words what I use will help the company to determine how is my vocabulary. So these are all the things which talks about the personality traits. So use of online platform, when I say, it's not just for ensuring that I get the right candidates, it is also about determining the quality of the candidates. So it's very key for all of us to put the right kind of profiling and put the right kind of image in the social platform where we are present. So this is all on the recruitment front. Let's talk about onboarding. See, the organizations have, with I think we are already running almost 50 days of 50 days of lockdown now. In the last 50 days, even in my organization, we have onboarded a few people. What we have done is we have done virtual onboarding. So far, what was considered as in-person interaction for onboarding. Onboarding is a process where we go ahead and complete the joining process of a candidate and they become the employees of the organization. So what we are doing this through a Microsoft Teams sessions in my company, an onboarding process which is digital or virtual, where we provide not only the forms online, but we also are providing them with a virtual online induction. What has been our working timings? What's been our projects? What is that you normally go through an induction process in person will now become an online induction process where somebody from the HR department comes through a meeting and presents to the employee or the new employee what the organization is all about and what is that we are expecting from the new joiner and which is the team the person is going to join and who are all the other team members in that particular team and what are all the job responsibilities of that new joiner. All these are part of the onboarding process, including even a bank account opening form. Everything is getting digitized today. So that is the extent to which the recruitment scenario and the onboarding scenario has completely changed. If you ask me honestly, about 3 months back, we were not even close to thinking about all this. Today, it's all become a reality. Yes, there are organizations and times who have been discussing that, we are going to have a virtual process in the near future, but we never thought it's going to be so near. So right from branding to getting the right candidate to ensuring that we identify and interview the right candidate, even up to evaluation of the candidate, everything today has become totally digital. So this is what I would say has changed in the global market or in the corporate market for recruitment scenario. So for all of you, I would say, start looking at how you can build a digital profile of yourself, how you can go ahead and identify your traits, which you can present in the short 10 minutes or 5-minute span, which you get to interview with the companies. How is that you're going to look at your social profile changes? These are the key things I want all the students to look at building from a perspective of getting the right job. So this is all I have about recruitments. I would like to now move to the role of HR. When we talk about COVID or a lockdown scenario, traditionally, HR department is one department which is being looked at by the organizations, even during good and the bad times, both, I would say. Good times, yes, they want us to communicate all the good messages. During hard times, like whatever we are going through COVID, they're also looking forward for a lot of support from the HR department in times of crisis and also in terms of managing the crisis. So I would say HR department is one department which is leading the organization through the crisis times, particularly the management and the employees both look at HR as the common convener between the two between them to help them fare through this crisis times. So what is that which is mainly from a HR point of view, apart from being kind of a middleman between the management and employees, what are the key things what the HR department has seen in the COVID times? I would say focus on employee health and safety has become the very key thing from an organization perspective. There are times where companies have really not really worried about the employee health and safety. When I say health and safety, I'm talking about in the smallest thing like hand sanitizer. I don't know how many organizations had given importance to providing an employee with hand sanitizers. So today we are talking about when we return back from COVID, the lockdown, we should provide every employee with hand sanitizer so that there is a feeling of hygiene and creating a feeling of well-being among the employees is very important so that they carry back the same message home and it gets extended to their community and families also. So we are talking to that extent on employee health and safety. Apart from this, we are also talking about what is that we could do in these times. You know, lockdown times, some of them really enjoy, some of them are really feeling very, very depressed and dejected being at home. So mental wellness is also a key thing. So organizations have tied up with companies and NGOs like Banyan to provide support in terms of mental wellness. These are times, you know, where employees are finding it difficult, or even why only employees, even the families sometimes could be finding it very difficult to express. So they may need an outlet to express. So we have provided with helpline numbers where where the employees or their family members can go ahead and talk and feel that they have expressed to somebody what otherwise they would not have been able to express. So many of them are so used to talking to colleagues at office, meeting them in person, all these they are missing. So that it's a thing of dejectedness within them. So these helplines could help them to mentally balance themselves. So these are the kind of things what the organizations and the HR departments are also focusing at during this lockdown times to help the organizations and their employees to perform in the same way as earlier times. I would say MBA, this is not our management business administration. So here we are talking about MBA when I say for a HR person. Today, when I say M, maintaining the core values, all this is the expectation from the organization and employees from HR department. But what is that the HR department has to do? First, they have to, when I say MBA, they have to maintain the core values of the organization. At any point of time, there are core values of an organization which cannot be let down. So again, during these times also, making sure whatever the decision and the action we do are in line with the core values is again in the interest. Yeah. So again, these are ultimately in the custody of the HR department also. So making sure that your company core values are not lost in the process of bringing in changes. That is one key thing. In my organization, if you ask, trust is one of the key core values. Earlier we had, when we were working from office, timesheet or time maintenance was a key factor. But today we have become so flexible that it's okay between the manager and the employee to define what time they want to work. Some people may say, I want to work from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., taking a break from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's absolutely fine. That's what we say today. But in an earlier scenario, in an office, it was not at all possible to do that. So trust again is a core value we establish when we say that, yes, go ahead and do it. So maintaining the core values of the organization is again a very key thing when we bring in changes. Then of course, we are talking about break ruthlessly. When I say break ruthlessly, it's not anything physical breaking. Whatever we used to think as the right ways to do the things earlier may not be the right way now. So break those old thought and come up with the new thought process. When I say break ruthlessly, break your thought process, reimagine things, think wider and bring in new ways of working is what I'm trying to say when I say break ruthlessly. When I say accelerate is again, what is accelerate? Speed. So when you take decision today, we don't have that liberty and freedom to really think that, I'm going to change this for up to this time. We need to continuously evolve. So acceleration, the speed is very important. We are trying few things. Yes, it works. Well, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, go back and bring new things. So we are also bound by the speed or the timing because we are working in a lockdown period and during COVID times. So things have to be new, but we don't have time to try and test and then implement. Yes, we try, test. If it fails, bring out new things. So acceleration is also very key for all of us, that the speed we maintain is very important. So as a result, what has happened from an HR perspective, there is redefinition of leadership. When we talk about leadership times, today is one scenario, I would say, where you need to be really creative and thinking very wide in terms of your approach. There are leaders who can think forward and do things quickly. And there are also leaders who probably are not able to cope with this situation. So when I say redefine leadership, your old things may or may not hold good in the new scenario. So it's important to think different and redefine the leadership team. These are also times where, there are death of many leaders. When I say death, I'm talking about becoming obsolete. The leadership will become obsolete if they are unable to adapt to these new scenarios. So that itself will redefine the leadership. Again, reimagine. When I say reimagine the future, please don't ever think when we get back to office, we're going to have the same old days where we are going to have a canteen discussion with a group of colleagues. In the new norm, it's definitely not going to be there. Our future is definitely going to be bound by a lot of restrictions in terms of human interaction. So you have to reimagine a future with very, very limited interaction. And then you really have to think beyond the limitations what you have. When I say, I really mean here about right from even, let's talk about a training. Our traditional training room scenario has been a theater style classroom where, where our employees come and sit and go ahead and have the learnings and go back with all the takeaway of the learnings. So going forward, it's definitely not going to be the scenario. Maybe we need to have a Teams meeting for the training programs, or even a meeting what we have a daily stand-up meeting where employees gather together in one small conference room, discuss their daily tasks. So that may go through a change in terms of employees joining in through their own seats or through their own meeting rooms where literally nobody meets each other personally. So if this be the case, does an organization need a large meeting room? So that large meeting room may be converted to a wider workspace area. So these are all the things, reimagining the future. When I say the workspace will change, the way we work may also change. So remote working is becoming the new normal. When I say remote working, I'm just thinking back 3 months back when some of the employees come back and ask me, I want to do work from home. So there are managers who had come back to me and said, Preeti, this cannot happen because, this person cannot do work from home at all. But tomorrow, when we get back to office, we will never be in a situation to say you cannot do work from home, because we have established for such a long time that everybody can work from home and also deliver without any escalations and quality compromise. So this being the case, remote working is going to become the new normal of the day, and it is going to become more and more common in terms of employees requesting the new normal of work from home. In fact, we are also discussing how we can ensure that if we are moving into a larger or a different office, how we can make sure that 50% of our employees can work from home and only 50% can come to office and work. This is the kind of thought process. I also remember about 2 weeks back, TCS had put up an article. They are looking at having 70% of their employees doing permanent work from home in the near future. So these are the kind of things what HR leadership is thinking. Again, on the other side, when I talk to my own employees are telling, I think over these lockdown period, I have realized that I also have good talent. I've also realized that I can also become a good chef apart from being a good software engineer. So they are realizing they have opportunities for more than one career. You never know, somebody may even start a small restaurant apart from being a software engineer. So these are things what we have been hearing from our employees. Of course, when I say the heart and the head, I'm referring here to the softer decisions and the harder decisions that an organization has to make. Many things we think by heart, yes, I want to be nice to these people. When we say the head, we are talking about the harder decision. These are also the times where we really need to see, in the last 50 days, we have also realized there are some processes within our defined workspaces, probably we can do away with. So if we have to do away with those processes, what's going to happen to those people who are performing those processes? So we will have to talk to them and tell them that, hey, look, you have to get trained in new areas. These are all the things which comes from the head. Somebody may be very, very reluctant. No, I am comfortable doing this. I do not want to do. So how do you make them realize that going forward, these jobs are going to become redundant? So it is important to reskill and upskill your, your work area and move on. So these are all the things what the companies and the employees are looking at. Support from the HR when we see in during this COVID times. Sorry, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am. You can continue. You're audible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So these are all the things what the management and the employees are expecting from HR during the COVID times. So what is that the employees are expecting? What are employee expectation and priorities during COVID times? Let's have a look at that also. So as I already said, employees probably going forward may not look at one permanent job. They may look at more than one career for them. When I say more than one career, it's not essentially being a chef and a software engineer. A software engineer may be working with 5 different companies on 5 different projects. So this is also one possibility. An employee expectation would change. Then of course, employees may start looking at and requesting companies that they would like to do more remote working. So which means they may say that I would like to define my work timing. You give me the task, I will deliver you whatever the outcome is. So this is going to be the kind of contracts which may come up in future. Apart from all this, we talked about employee engagement in the past, where, when we talk about employee engagement, the traditional thought process has been, having an ethnic day was a very, very light employee engagement, or having a music or a musical concert or a dance party in office. These are all the things what employees enjoyed the most. But what's going to happen now in this COVID times? The thought process of employees have changed in terms of engagement. They are no longer interested in whether we are going to have a ethnic day or a dance party or a music party. They are more interested to know, is my organization transparent with me? That's the change in thought what the employees have brought in. Is my employer transparent with me? Is my company having sufficient projects for me to sustain my job for the next few months? So these are the kind of discussions the employees want during these times, and they are no longer interested to know whether there is a quiz program happening in the company or whether there is a dance program happening in the company. So transparency from a management to the employee. So top-down approach is what they are looking at from a transparency. How is it they are looking at transparency? Continuous communication. When I say communication, they see earlier scenario when everybody was in office, we had an open office culture. Anyone can go to the management and have a conversation, but today that is missing. So they are expecting the management to have larger communication with the employees. It's not just the email communication here I'm referring to. Like how we are having a Zoom discussion today, companies are having webinars and town halls over this webinar with their employees. We are having as large group
Has it got hanged? Ma'am? Dear participant, please hold for a second. We'll rectify the error at the earliest. I think Madam's line got disconnected. Please hold on.
Hello. Yeah, I'm connected. I'm connected. Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah, but I'm unable to share the screen. Can you please enable that?
Ma'am, 1 minute, ma'am. Preeti,
It
ma'am,
says
please 1
host
minute.
disabled,
Oh, host.
participant screen
Yes.
sharing. Can you please enable that?
Prasanna, Prasanna.
Post பண்ணிட்டேன் sir.
Okay, now you can continue, ma'am.
Yeah.
Dear participants, sorry for the inconvenience due to some technical error. We are resuming back, please.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
I'm really sorry for the inconvenience.
This is also post COVID effect, the meeting effect, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
I'm really sorry. There was a connectivity issue, and there was a disconnection of service, and I had to shift the network. I'm really sorry. So
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
continuous communication, that is where we were. Continuous communication is also an expectation of the employees today in the COVID times, where they are expecting the management to have continuous communication with the employees on how the organization is performing, how is their job going to be in the next few months, is it secure, and how the profitability of the organization is, and what are the new projects what the companies are getting. So these are all the kind of things which are expected by an employee during these times to make sure that there is a continuous communication process, and they also are keen to know how the organization is performing. Apart from this, yes, of course, mental wellness. When I say mental wellness, see, earlier when a new employee joins the company, the last question he would ask is, do you have a medical insurance? But today, every employee is interested to know. So many employees have written to me in this COVID times also, asking where they can find the link to the, employees' medical insurance coverage. So these are all the things what employees have also started focusing on and prioritizing. Whether my company is taking care of me in every way, it's not only my salary, but also is my company taking care in terms of getting me a good medical insurance, which covers even my mental wellness part of it. It's not just the physical wellness anymore. It's also the mental wellness. We are talking about, having counselors who can come and talk to our employees regularly to make sure that they are in good mental health. It's also about how much of time is my employer providing me for a physical activity so that I get some physical wellness leading to mental wellness. So these are all the kind of things what an employee is expecting from an organization. So let us also look at what could be a bounce back plan which the companies could have to come out of the COVID. So we saw on one side what the management is expecting. We saw on one side what the employees are expecting. Let us look at what is a kind of bounce back companies. What the companies are looking at. We are looking at a 4C plan. When I say 4C, we are talking about care. When I say care, yeah. So am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am. Audible. Please, ma'am.
So when we talk about a bounce back plan, we are talking about 4Cs. When I say 4Cs, we are talking about a care for employee and the customer. See, for an organization, employees are also important, so are their customers. So care is one key factor which needs to be showcased during these times of lockdown. You need to care for your employees and also for your customers. So I think that is one thing which is coming out very visibly during this lockdown period. Then, of course, communication. The other C is communication. Communication, we already spoke about it in the previous slide also. Employees are expecting continuous communication. Management is also expecting communication in terms of what the employees are facing as challenges, how they are able to deliver their work. So communication with employees and customers, both are becoming very key today. Continuity. It's not just about a business continuity plan, what we are talking about. Continuity, when we talk about it, is also about being the wellness, physical wellness, mental wellness, everything comes here when it comes to continuity. Even the community wellness, everything comes here in continuity. It is beyond our BCP plans we are talking about. Then the fourth C we talk about is cause. Whatever the actions we take, what is the purpose? Is it so we are looking at recalibrating our priorities. Is this action needed at this hour? Revisit. Is there a need to do what we are doing? So for every action we do, there is a cause which needs to be attached. So 4 C's are the key things which are happening, which are being looked at for a bounce back plan. And of course, staying fit. All of us are staying at home. I know the first few days we all would have really enjoyed being most laziest, but then it's also important that we physically take care of our health. And the organizations are also responsible for staying fit. So it's important that we look at our own health as the most important thing today. So we need to maintain ourselves fit and healthy in order to bounce back into action. So all of us should be aware of what is allowed and what is not allowed during this lockdown period, so that we are staying more safe and get back to whatever our next life actions be after the post-COVID. Then, of course, gratitude. We also need to have a lot of gratitude at this moment, because when the entire globe is going through such a crisis, I think it's important by staying fit, we are all taking care of ourselves, and we should also have gratitude for all those people who are supporting us to be safe and secure. And of course, community service. I'm not telling go out and do community service within your own surrounding, even the organizations. In the last few days, we have even lost track of what is the cost we have incurred on providing some food. We have come across, we are a very small organization. We have only 300 employees in Chennai. So there are, I remember in the first few days, there were employees who came and told me, Preeti, my hostel is not providing food. What do I do? So we tied up with some catering institutions who could provide them food. It's not about, they are not unable to cook. How is that we could support in some small way where we could provide them with some services? Some employees wanted to reach out to some hospitals. We were able to mobilize some vans for them and get them to hospital. There was a pregnant woman, her delivery was due. So these are all the community services we are talking about, whatever the organizations could do and whatever the employees could do with each other. I know employees, their colleagues because their hostels had shut down and no transportation to get back to their hometown. So these are all the things which may be very small actions, but definitely that has a larger impact. And last but not the least, valuing social connections. Today, we are all staying fit, very interactive, mainly because, what we thought are our social connections are very active today. Even today, if I'm talking to all of you over a Zoom, it's only thanks to all our social connections that we are connected and we are able to interact. You are able to understand what is happening in my organization. I am able to understand your expectation only because of our social interaction through these social media networks. So I think this is all we need to look at from my perspective to have a bounce back plan. I'm done with my presentation and now I'm open for questions. Feel free to raise the questions. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. I'm open for questions, people.
Any questions?
You can post it in the chat window also.
Yeah, I'm also seeing that window. How to kickstart our economy after the pandemic situation is one question raised by Hariharan. So, well, I would say, look at the bounce back plan what had provided. And also, you cannot expect a complete kickback to what we were. It would definitely slowly move back to normalcy. How far is COVID going to play a havoc with tourism sector as it is connected with hospitality, aviation, and transportation? Very good. See, in fact, in one of the conferences I attended, there was this Indigo HR head who had participated. He also was mentioning that hospitality, aviation, and transportation is going to be hit hard after the lockdown, mainly because people will be worried about even going on a vacation for the next few months. It's probably going to be for 1 quarter after the lockdown is over. And then, it's going to be a very temporary effect. After 90 days, things should go back to normal. And any change, whatever happens, will take its time for adjustment. So is COVID also. The globe has fought through many pandemics like this, and COVID is also one of them. I know we all will fight through and get back to the normalcy, which I would say the new normalcy. So it could take another quarter or 6 months for us to go back to a vacation. But definitely we all are looking forward for going on vacations, right? So it will hit, but it is not going to be a permanent hit. It's a temporary hit.
Preeti ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what do you think about this on-site projects, ma'am, after this COVID-19?
On-site is going to be probably hit for some time, I would say. Travels are going to be constrained for some time, maybe a year or so, in my opinion. After that, it would come back to normalcy. And we are also talking about a remote working as one of the options. So when we look at remote working options, probably, you know, our existence in terms of physical existing in those locations may not be required. So it may, you know, organizations may start looking at how we can digitally deliver those projects. So work may not get affected. Our physical travel to the on-site locations may be affected, Mr. Murugan. Somebody is asking here how salary will be calculated to employees after COVID to private companies during the lockdown. See, salaries may not get affected that much because, you know, we are already paying the employees for the work they are doing. What probably can get affected is their increments next year, which may depend on the profitability of the organization.
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, as many employees are working from home, is that the overhead cost will be reduced for the companies, no, ma'am? So it is some sort of profit for the organizations. Is it so or not?
I would say it is neither a profit nor a loss. Maybe, you know, it's slightly higher expenses we are incurring at this time because we are enabling work from home for everybody, right? So the cost of moving their laptops or the PCs home or providing, you know, no organization thought that 100% of their workforce is going to work from home. So all of us may not have that privilege to take back our PCs home. In our company, if we have 300 employees and we did not have the liberty to move their computers home, we had to provide everybody with a laptop to work. So which means, you know, only about 10% of the company had laptops permanently issued to them. So for the 90% of them, either we had to buy new laptops or rent new laptops. So the cost would more or less get set off. So similarly, you look at reaching out to employees to deliver the BCP kit. Initially, we thought it's going to be till 31st of March, and then it got extended to April 15, then to May 4th, now to May 17. So we had to go and deliver the laptops to their, to their homes. So even getting people to commute and deliver these, all these are the costs which the companies are incurring from an operational perspective. And apart from that, you know, we are looking at additional investments in terms of mental wellness and providing people with some kind of support if they need any kind of telephone numbers to talk to people. And we are also enabling work from home with a network provided by the office, and we have also provided them with what do you call it, as with a connectivity which should not get affected during power cut. So these are all the things where we have additionally incurred the money. And if you see the saving what we have and the expense what we are incurring kind of gets sets off. There is no gain nor any loss.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Employment may not get affected. You know, the companies will start looking at how we get the right people. So it's very important that you get skilled yourself to the expectation of the new industry standard to get the employment. Recruitment of employees, but there are many people who are going to be jobless after the situation. See, joblessness is going to be a very temporary impact. As I said, you know, we all need to look at what the new expectation of the company, of the industry is. So if the new expectations are understood, there is a higher need for upskilling and reskilling of people. If people think that I am working only in these areas and these are the only areas I can work on, and if those jobs are not required in the new normal, then only they are going to be jobless. So let's take, for example, there's a particular process which becomes obsolete, and the person who is doing the process need to have the flexibility to learn a new job so that he or she can become utilizable. Then there is no question of losing the job. Only when the rigidity is there that I will not change what I am doing, then only they lose the job or they become obsolete. So it's very important flexibility is built in to make sure that they don't lose their job, or we need it in the new industry also. What are the other questions which has come?
Ma'am, I have another question.
Yes.
What do you think about entertainment industry, ma'am? So after COVID-19, it will resume back to the normal, or it will continue another 5 to 6 months?
Entertainment industry already is going through a shift in their thought process, because I have had, employee engagement companies who are tied up with us. Earlier, they used to say, I'll come and conduct a dance program, quiz program in the company. Today, they are talking about, I have designed program which are digital, where employees can, where employee wellness can be addressed. So these are all the things they are talking about. So they will continue to be there, but with the shift of focus in terms of what their work area is going to be and how they are going to address the new need of organizations. So these are all the areas where they would shift. And those who don't shift obviously will become redundant and obsolete. So no industry is going to lose. It's only that they have to come up with what is needed in the new normalcy to become more relevant. See, when you're talking about production and all, we will continue to have these as temporary effect, any production getting stopped, or, kind of becoming obsolete. But these are not permanent. Companies also invest, production companies invest a lot, they will come up with a lot of new ways on how they can meet the needs of the new industry requirement. So it's all very temporary phase. We cannot say the companies will stop its production. They are going to come up with new ways to meet the requirements. Small scale industries, yes, it may get affected as long as they don't look at newer ways to get things done. Particularly the lockdown period is what they are going to be affected, small scale industries, because for them, the operating finance will become an issue. That is where I think they will be affected. Otherwise, once the normalcy or the new normalcy comes in, they will also start looking at how they can operationally or revenue wise become more stronger. I think it's a very temporary effect.
Someone has asked a question, what is going to be the trend at this time of hiring or firing?
Hiring, as I already said, we are looking at digital hiring. See, no company wants to fire. Let me be honest, in all the management meetings, what we are having, firing is not at all being discussed. We want to see how we can help our employees to come back and adopt to the new normalcy. We may look at upskilling and then reskilling for those kind of jobs which are not required anymore. Wherever there is a lot of, wherever the employees are not able to show any flexibility, then only, they become obsolete, and that may lead to a scenario where probably, it may become difficult for organizations to reskill and upskill them. That is where I wouldn't say firing also. Sufficient time and opportunity would be given to every employee. That is where the role of transparency is very important. Organizations come back and say how they are performing at this moment and what are the kind of roles they are looking for in future. So that this is also an indication for employees, what is that they need to be ready with in the future requirements. Economic condition after the down, I think we all have to wait and watch. But what I foresee is a very temporary phase. We will definitely bounce back to the new normal. What's the role of HR post-COVID? The head and the heart both have to be used. That's all I would say. After lockdown, whether the employees are laid off I don't see a layoff scenario, people. It's definitely not a layoff scenario. Only thing is, we want to get back to the new normalcy, make sure that every organization is looking at how we can protect our employees today. Nobody is talking about a layoff scenario.
Any more questions, audience?
Engineering students not getting jobs, I would say it's nothing to do with the COVID situation. It's more to do with the industry expectation and the gap what is existing from what the candidates are today. So I think that is a gap which is a different topic and a discussion altogether which has to be addressed. And that has got nothing to do with COVID situation.
I think people are done with the questions, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful session. So we got a great insight about how HR functions even during the pandemic situation, and we were about to learn how the new normal will be. The session gave a very nice insight about all those things. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the session. Over to the head.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks to the management of Tagore Engineering College also, and the students
Thank you,
also
ma'am.
for providing me this wonderful opportunity with all of you. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank
time,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, participants. So we will be back tomorrow, and the tomorrow session timing is 12 to 1. So you'll be getting the Zoom link. Thank you.